I mean, it just keeps getting, every day of my life gets more and more exciting when I get to meet beautiful, beautiful elders like yourself, Kumu. And I'm going to ask you, please, to pronounce your entire name because I do not want to muffle it up.
I'd be happy to. And thank you so much for having me, Diane.
Oh my God,
Thank
I'm
you,
so
thank you.
excited.
My full name is Kumu, which means teacher, master teacher. Brenda is obvious. Mohalapua. And Mohalapua was given to me by my biggest teacher, the most impactful teacher. And it means a flower that is continually unfolding, shining forth like a light, and being clear in thought.
Ah, I love that.
Mhm.
I love
And
that.
Ignacio is my dad's name that I carry, and Gore is my married name. Now, you
Aw.
Kumu Brenda Mohalapua Ignacio.
I think, I mean, I get excited, pretty regularly, but this is, I mean, I'm going to start asking you some questions. I'm just thrilled to have you with me. One of the reasons being, like I said, we were talking just a few minutes before we went live, is the spirituality of body work is something that's dear to my heart. And it seems like your practice is also very spiritual. It's not just physical. So, but I want to backtrack and also just ask you a question that seems important to you and also important to everyone, which was tell us about the word aloha.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. You know, aloha has been watered down and used, and it's a very important word. It isn't the hello, goodbye word that we use, although we've come to allow that it represents a feeling to a lot of people. If you say aloha, to them it immediately says Hawaiian. That's okay. However, aloha, alo, in the presence of, ha, divine breath, aloha. So it's in the presence of divine breath. It's sacred.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've seen, but we in Hawaii greet each other with the breath of life. And it's a sharing where we touch the bridges of our nose and inhale, and we give the breath. We give each other breath. And that's what it truly means. And also, you asked about the aloha meaning of the aloha chant. Um, and if it's a good time, I'd love to share it with you.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Of course, it's all yes. Go.
Okay. So, um, aloha. We took the letters, and the first is akahai e na Hawaii, kindness to be expressed with tenderness.
Oh, I love
Lo,
it.
lokahi akulike, unity to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu ka mana'o. Yes, that's agreeable to be expressed with pleasantness. Ha'ahaha ko kulana. That means humility to be expressed with modesty. And ahonui a kila, which means patience to be expressed with perseverance.
Oh.
And you demonstrated all of those this morning.
Well, what's so funny because I was looking at this, it's just such a beautiful balance and just a great and beautiful word choices, especially for me. I've always said, everyone's like, how did you build your practice? How did you do this? And I always said patience with perseverance because there is a certain amount of waiting, but you don't just wait and if it doesn't happen in 5 minutes, give up. You got to keep going, right?
Absolutely.
So when I was looking researching about you a little bit online, and I saw the meaning of aloha, I just thought we should do justice with your background and really define that word because it's so important. And as you spell it out, it's just so precious and beautiful and deep. I
It
missed some
is.
of that. It's deep.
deep.
It's so deep. So I just studying the word aloha, I could become a better person and just learn so much already. I've already learned so much from you, and I've been in your presence for just a few moments. So thank you so much for your time. And
My pleasure.
so one of the things too that I think that was interesting and that I love, just because it's been such a big thing for me, is just nature and just being outside. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people get away from. We just get busy, and we're outside from the time we leave for work and get in our car, and then we drive to work, and then the next time we're outside is we get outside of our car and we go into work, and like we're in the elements of air conditioning when it's warm out, and then we're in the elements of heat when it's cold out. So we don't
Yeah.
even anyway, so I'm getting off track. But your grandmother was a big teacher for you, and will you just tell me a little bit about her, and how she kind of taught you about the spirit of love and nature?
Oh, absolutely. My grandmother was precious. She was born on a cowboy ranch in Hawaii called Kukuyao Ranch. And she was born on a ranch and in a cowboy family. You know, we have Paniolo and Paniola, which means cowboy. And not too many people know this, but I still have cousins that compete in
Oh,
rodeos
that's awesome.
on the mainland. And yeah, we have that background on my mother's side. My grandmother was born on a ranch with wild turkeys and pheasants and all kinds of beautiful things. And one of the things that give us mana, which we will talk about in a minute, is that we revere nature. We revere the higher knowledge and greater knowledge that exists. We revere each other, mankind, and all people, and we revere nature equally. So nature is very important. My grandmother was just precious, loved to laugh. And I spent time with her where we would go out and pick fruit. And in Hawaii, in the colder areas, we had peaches and plums and grapes. My favorite was figs. And
Ooh.
the reason was she would go out and pick these little purple figs. Then she would lovingly peel them. And then she would cut them in half and open them on a plate, and they looked like little butterflies. And then sprinkle them lightly with sugar. And the next day for breakfast, I'd have a plate of butterflies, and there
Aw.
were cakes. And she loved flowers, and she planted these circles in her yard of flowers. And I would lie there, Diane, as a child, and look up at the sky and just feel one with nature. The clouds, I saw things in the clouds. I had dreams. And the world was just precious in her presence. She also got me started with touch because she loved to have her ears massaged.
That's
So
awesome.
it was always massaging her ears, and that was the first thing that I knew that my hands were meant to do something.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so cool how family can do that for us.
Yes,
No, it really is. And then in 1975, you met someone who you referred to as your greatest teacher. And
yes.
I don't want to do an injustice too of mispronouncing her name. So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about her and what she brought?
Here she
Aw,
is. Can you
aw,
hear?
I can see.
This is my Nana, 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 Nana Viri. And Nana is probably the most impactful person in my life. And she wrote this book, Change We Must.
Oh, cool.
Have you read it?
Oh, but I
Have you
will.
heard of it?
Honestly, I have not. I can't. I'm gonna read it though. I'm gonna have to
Yes,
check it
you
out.
will, because I'm sending you one. They're out of print, and they're my treasures.
Aw.
I met Nana in 1975. I became her student. Um, And then in 1977, my own mother passed away way too early. And Nana Hanaid me, which in Hanaid means to adopt. She
Aw.
spiritually adopted me. And she was then my spiritual mother until her passing. And she lived to a very wonderful old age. Um, Nana Viri, I met in 1975. And the way I was raised, I've been doing the hula since age 6 because it's another expression. It's the simplicity of grace and communication and connection with one's inner essence, the hula. And I was teaching at a preschool that was next door to a church. And she saw me dancing, teaching the children, and said, I would like you to dance in church. It was non denominational church. And we started Aloha Sunday, one Sunday a month.
That's
And for the next 9 years, I danced the last Sunday of every month. That was hard for me. I didn't think dancing in church was appropriate. And she said, Lula ole Mohalapua, which means how rude, how rude. Where does the gift of dance come from? And who are you to say no to express this gift? And who does the dancing? So, okay, we tried it. And that's actually what led me into massage because she picked the songs and she was there every time I danced. She chose the songs. One thing about Hawaii that I love is that songs are written every day, every day. There are more songs praising nature, man, and spirituality than any place I've ever traveled or heard of in the world. And when I danced, people experienced healing, and that scared me. They would send cards and money and thank me, and I didn't feel that it was me. And she said, "No, your gift will be your hands when you're ready. Your gift will be with your hands." So I accepted and I started to study seriously the body work, Lomi Lomi. And then I went to school and studied um, the nationally accredited massage. Then I graduated and then I got my teaching credentials after 5,000 hours. And then I got NCBT and be like you and also a provider. So I got serious about it.
that's
And
amazing.
however, I never, ever, ever left my dance. And till today, I dance every Saturday with my hula sisters and continue to express the love that hula represents for me.
Oh, so good, so good. So one of the things that I think you'll do a really great job of helping me out with is really explaining Lomi massage in your own words.
Okay, now we are not the hula police, or we are not the Lomi Lomi police massage. Um, what Lomi Lomi means to us, the wisdom keepers, the elders, is tradition and purity, above all purity. And Lomi Lomi, um, it actually means like the contented pawing of a cat, the kneading of the body. More than that, um, it was passed down with royalty because we were a monarchy. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it was passed down within families. It was very pure, very sincere. And Lomi Lomi is not just anatomy and physiology. It addresses the spiritual, physical, um, mental, and emotional bodies. So it takes in all four. What's most important, though, is that the practitioner is trustworthy and honorable and takes care to keep themselves vessel. We do not call ourselves healers. We are vessels of healing energy. And with Lomi Lomi, we feel we don't have the right to touch another person until and unless we ourselves have seen that we are pure vessels, that we don't carry anger or grudges, that we are clean and healed ourselves. And then we partner with the person on the table, and we don't do it to them. We just call forth their own ability to bring forth healing within themselves
Yes.
through listening,
Yes.
listening, feeling, listening for guidance from the ancestors, if you believe in such a thing, and also listening to their body and what it is saying to you.
Oh, see, that's it right there. That's everything. That was so well put. Yes. Um, so, and two, one of the things that I looked over is that, Lomi Lomi is not a procedure, but it's a way of life.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yes, 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 I will. Um, there are two very important words. When I teach, like, where is that? When I teach, I go into the way of life with the students and I give them a manual that takes in a lot of these things. Um, it is two words, mana and pono. And mana, MANA, is a spiritual power that you get by living in a way that keeps you a pure vessel, that you do right. Pono is also 7 words I like to use is always tell the truth and do what's right. So if you always tell the truth and do what's right, you will be pono. If you're pono, you gather mana. And mana then would be what I mentioned prior, to have respect and honor a higher power, whatever that is for you. It could be a tree, it could be Buddha, it could be God, it could be, I don't use labels. I believe in that there's one path to kindness. And if you're not kind, it doesn't matter what you believe is not working,
Yes.
So, living that way, being pono, being kind. Kind is so, so, so important and it matters. Being non-judgmental. And so in our manual, in the teaching, when I teach Lomi Lomi, people get on the computer and they look up YouTube and they slip and slide and do all this stuff. That is not Lomi Lomi. That is using Hawaii's word to entice people to do body work. The Lomi Lomi is not about body work as much as it is about the purity of intention and what you're asking for when you touch someone. It's like Aloha mai, let there be love. E mana mai, let there be power. E pono mai, let there be harmony. E ola no, let there be healing. Amama ua no valelele, our prayer has flown. And we say, thank you, mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
Oh my, it's so nice.
It's lovely. It's lovely for the practitioner and the receiver.
Right. And it, like I said, one of the things for me that I've always believed and felt myself is that body work is an art. It is a dance, and it's just hitting home on so many of those things. Even going back to what you were saying about your grandmother, nature's not just a background, it's how we live. It's a part of us, and just bringing everything together and being respectful and being mindful as the practitioner before you even touch someone, I think is just is so awesome, so awesome. And then you did a beautiful dance at the World Massage Festival. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your dancing?
Yes, my dancing the hula, which stems from ancient times, it stems from storytelling. It's almost like signing in a sense. What I've discovered, it brings joy. And you know what has happened? Um, hula now is worldwide. Why is that? I don't know, but I'm so thrilled. And I have a cousin, Patrick Ka'anoi, and he wrote this wonderful book, The Need for Hawaii. And part of it is that the hula expresses where everyone can understand. Um, it brings forth joy. And when you're dancing the hula, you're telling a story, your heart is engaged, your mind is engaged, the body, the grace of your body movement, etc. It's sharing at a very generous level. And I must say, when I teach internationally, like in Moscow and actually Siberia, had some of the most precious students I've ever had. And they were so hungry. And I taught them the hula. Because when I teach internationally, I'll teach Lomi Lomi all day and the philosophy, etc. But in the evening, we play. So we learn the hula and they love it. Now, since I've been to Russia, they have hula dancers all over the place. And they're dancing with, silk lace and everything. And it just makes my heart explode. It is an expression that's understood. And what it represents is the gentleness and the aloha of Hawaii, the unconditional love of Hawaii. And Japan is huge. They have more hula dancers in Japan than we have in Hawaii.
I didn't know that.
And Siberia, Russia. I tell you though, the women got the dance, and I taught the men as well, cowboy dances. But the women got the dance, but you know what they didn't get? They didn't get the face and the smile. They were so harsh. Life was so harsh that they would, and I'd have to sit down and say, ladies, when we say this word, this is how we look, to get them to express, And the men learned with joy, but they also cried a lot in class. And the reason is when we express the love, you know, um, they don't really know what that is with their harsh life. And a lot of them never had fathers or felt that they were worthy. That's where my husband steps in, Papa Robert. He's a very important part now of my teaching, in that he's a retired medical doctor, but he has done a lot of work along these lines where he will play their dad and hold them and say, I'm glad you were born. I love you and I'm proud of you. And these Russian men would just weep. So that's living Lomi Lomi as well.
Yes.
You asked about that. It takes in the whole picture of life and how we are living it. Regardless of the noise, we don't have time to listen or react to the noise. We respond with our light and our love. That's what Kumu thinks.
Oh my god. I wish I could come there and just hang out. I might. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then, what do you have any words of wisdom you want to kind of leave us with? We covered a lot, and I'm hoping that one day you'll join me again. And I just feel like you've already given us so many words of wisdom that I mean, if you want to try to throw another one at me, Kuma. I mean, if you want to try to, I
Well,
mean, I don't know if you can outdo
I
what
will. I
you've already done.
will. But before I do that, I wanted to show you my beautiful queen,
Aw,
Queen Liliuokalani. How's that one?
that's amazing.
Liliuokalani. She's our last living monarch. And I don't know how to say this exactly, but she loves to attend my Lomi classes. And the reason is part of living the Lomi Lomi life is knowing how to forgive. And we call it ho'oponopono. So this is part of wisdom as well. Ho'oponopono, making right more right, conflict resolution. The main ingredients is forgiveness, forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others. We cannot carry these stones. Like another one of my mentors was Polly J. Lee, who wrote Tales from the Night Rainbow, where if we carry grudges, they're rocks in our bowl,
Yes.
and light and rocks cannot coexist. So we have to keep our bowls of light empty and forgive. Now, at the end of every one of my classes, I give an exercise of forgiveness. And an interesting thing, in Cherokee, I took all of what they wrote, and I don't read them, none of my spiritual business, but we took them, dug a hole in the sand, and burned everybody's, and poof, be gone. And when it was over, and I have a picture to prove it, the ashes formed a heart.
Oh,
It did. It really did. So, sharing wisdom, this lady um, is my main person to look at and learn from, in that she was in prison. Um, she was arrested from the throne and imprisoned in her palace, which is still the only palace on American soil. Um, she passed away when my dad was like 3 months old. I wish that he had known more of her. But what did she do when she was imprisoned in a small room in her own palace with only one lady in waiting? She wrote beautiful, beautiful songs. And she wrote a song called The Queen's Prayer. In class, I generally play it. It's so beautiful because what she says is, forgive them, forgive them. If she could be put in a prison room as a queen and forced to abdicate by the United States. And then 2 years later, we were annexed as a territory. Um, if she could forgive and just write songs of beauty, who are we not to forgive? Who are we? So that's one thing I want to say. Learn how to forgive and keep your story, don't keep your story of woe running.
yes.
I would say also to eliminate from your vocabulary the word but, unless you're referring to anatomy, and eliminate the word need. And, over the years, I always wondered why when people come up and say, "Oh, Kumu, I need a hug," my physical reaction is like, whereas just want to share a hug, you want to give a hug, but if you need a hug, I'm out of here because you're going to take my mana. You're going to be a mana sucker. Okay, the other thing is the word but is a speed bump because you're negating what went before, you know?
Yes.
Why but? No buts. It is or it isn't. So the greatest wisdom that I carry comes from my Nana, and it is to guard our thoughts, to keep our thoughts clear of lack or need, and to expect only good. and what we can manifest by our thoughts, to guard them, free from fear. Don't fear. I went through a cancer journey, and I heard people say, "Oh, radiation, chemotherapy is poison." Yeah. Well, if that's your thought, you might just bring that. I instead praised my body. I trusted. Trust is huge in Lomi Lomi, huge. And I'm declared healed. So I'm very grateful. And what
So
happened when I lost my hair? Guess what? It was very emotional to lose one's hair and have your head shaved. But what grew out doesn't need any root treatment every 4 or 5, 6 weeks. No more roots. And now the teenagers want this color. Woohoo! So, there's always a gift if you trust and you live aloha, really.
I love it. I love it. And where can everybody find you? Where are you teaching now? What are you up to?
Okay, now I was co-founder of Hawaii Healing Arts College. It's probably the finest college of massage in Hawaii. No, it is actually. And I retired. We sold it. My partners and I sold it. Um, I teach now. Australia. I'm going back to Australia next year in October. They're beautiful students. I've done that twice. I am looking for the perfect venue to teach in Hawaii, because when I teach in Hawaii, I can take them to sacred sites. I can take them to look at the honu, or turtles that come up on the beach or swim among us. I can take them to eat food and see the joy of dancing and all of this, and different Polynesian cultures. So there's so much more. I can take them into the water to cleanse themselves. I'm looking for a venue. That's the hardest part right now, is to find something, because I want it to be affordable. I am not about becoming rich. I'm almost 78 years old. And I want to impart as much knowledge as I can before I cross the rainbow. So rather than, okay, let me just say real quickly, the one thing that Nana taught me that was most powerful too was that we, you included, we tend to be givers. We tend to want to give, almost sometimes to a fault. That was me. I nurtured everybody and I forgot to nurture myself. And you mentioned self care. Um, Breast cancer, which I got in 2013, discovered while I was in Australia teaching, has to do with self nurturing. So we have to learn to be receivers as well as givers, even though giving comes more easily. What Nana taught me was a very harsh lesson, as a matter of fact. We were having lunch listening to her daughter sing, at a restaurant, and she's put a beautiful lapis lazuli ring in front of me. And I picked it up. It was old setting, it's gorgeous. I wrote on a napkin, not wanting to speak, "It's beautiful." And I put it back in front of her. And she wrote, "It's for you." And I went, I said, "This is not very poetic." I said, "Are you crazy or what?" And what came back? "You ugly receiver." Whew, did that hurt? That hurt. But did I get, I got the message. And breast cancer, self nurturing. So I took time off. I will teach. I love teaching. It's my passion. I will go wherever someone finds students. I will come there, because now that's my reason for being, is to pass this on. Our world can use this now more than I ever remember.
Mm-hmm.
And love heals more than anything. Um, and you can be a rooster and just make a lot of noise, or you can be a lighthouse, right? Like you said, my favorite, the lighthouse just shines its light. So that's where I'm at. I love to teach.
This was, I mean, this was like, I don't even know what to say. This was amazing. This was absolutely amazing. I'm so honored and so thankful that you took the time to hang out with me today. And I mean, there was just so many graces that you shared that they're just, I feel like I've been to like a holy ground or something. It's just, I'm so thankful that you took the time with me today. And I'm sure everybody that watches this video will be too. And,
Well, Diane, may I just say that the reason that I loved doing this with you is because I honor who you are. I honor that you are respectful, you're open, your heart, your mind is open. You believe in sharing, and you do it with such joy and such a sense of humor. And so you honor us. You honor us by being interested in what we have to say.
it's just
And
been
Nana
so
and I
cool.
had a private meeting with the Dalai Lama. And I came away from that meeting thinking, you are capable of creating a holy ground. I am capable of creating a holy ground. And it doesn't mean that we're religious. It doesn't mean that we subscribe to one particular religion or theology or philosophy. What it means is that we are open and loving and accepting, um, and revere mankind and nature where we started this conversation, and something, a higher power, something greater than ourselves. And Jenny Ray, who I love, shares another indigenous gift, and she and I, we're like sisters at some level. Jenny Ray, we laugh about this, but in her class that I took, um, and there were so many similarities. Some people said, "Well, I'm a healer." Really? I never call myself a healer. Never. And I said to that particular student, you're not all that. We
Thank
can't walk around thinking that we're all that. Ho'olohe kapepeao. Listen, na ikamaka. Observe. Pa'a kawaha. Shut our mouths. you know,
You're getting me
those are
teary.
the main things about learning. So
You're getting
I
me
also
teary.
want to tell you, sweetheart,
Yes.
that I'm a kahu besides a kumu, and I do weddings.
Ooh.
Ooh, and I've done two in recent months in Hawaii on the beach. So, and I do weddings without limitations.
Ooh.
Get my drift?
I love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish we could now go have lunch
I
together.
know, right? Well, maybe someday. But for
Yes,
right now, I'm gonna
I'm
log
working
off.
on my vision board.
Put me on there.
There
I
you
I'll
go.
put you on. We'll just see what happens.
There you go.
Thank you everyone for watching. We're gonna log off now. Kumu, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You got you got me teary. It's just so good. It's all so good. I'm so honored, and I'm gonna log off. We'll chat for a minute when we're gone here. But everybody, thanks for watching, and thank you so much.
Aloha.
Aloha.